Hi there guys and welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. My name's Chris Coney, I am the host of the Cryptoverse and the founder of cryptoversity.com, which is the online school where you set the price to learn about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. You can find out more at cryptoversity.com. You can find out more about the Cryptoversity podcast at cryptoversity.com/podcast. where you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Store, YouTube, and Steemit. If you'd like to support the Cryptoverse, you can click on the Steemit logo, upvote this episode, or donate some Bitcoin on that page. You know, I always say this is the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, and then, of course, as soon as the next day comes, it's not the latest episode anymore. Even if I said today's episode, it would still only be relevant on that day, if you know what I mean. That's the problem with pre-recorded stuff. But anyway, I just thought that was an interesting insight. I actually woke up thinking about that this morning, about what I say at the opening lines of the Cryptoverse. Not that that's just trivia, to be honest, but I thought I would share my thoughts with you. Let's take a look at CoinMarketCap today. Let's see what we've got going on. I think we had a big red day yesterday where there was lots of falling prices on the various coins. Let's take a look at the top 10. Bitcoin nice and steady, just up less than 1%. The Ethereum coin ETH is down 6%. And now where's the DAO gone? Because the DAO was in the top 10. Where the hell's it gone? Let me search for it. The DAO. Oh. It's not actually showing up. Are there no Digix DAO? How interesting. Wow, now that's a surprise. That's the first I've heard of this. But CoinMarketCap is no longer listing the DAO tokens. Not in the top 100 coins anyway. I think it's 100. Yeah, you get 100 coins in the first page. There are more, and I'm not going to search for it. But it's definitely not in the top 100 coins anymore. I used to look at the two of them, the Ethereum token and the DAO, because they're kind of partners in crime. Excuse the pun, partners in crime, and usually their values fluctuate in tandem. Anyway, what we know is that the main Ethereum chain is down 6.3% in value, and the DAO has disappeared completely. More interesting than that is Ethereum Classic is up another 108%. Incredible. So an Ethereum token is worth $12.41, an Ethereum Classic token is now worth $2.25. It was worth like 65 cents yesterday or something like that. Was it 65 cents? Oh, no, that was the day before. 65 cents, then it went to about $1, and now it's up 108% to $2.25. And there's like a trading race on now. Ethereum Classic, there's been more Ethereum Classic tokens traded in the last 24 hours than there has been mainstream Ethereum tokens. Wow. So I said yesterday, this is going to get confusing. So Ethereum Classic is the original version of the blockchain that didn't go with the hard fork. So in that universe, let's call it that, on that timeline, the DAO attacker is still able to exploit the vulnerability and then draw down their funds that they stole. Whereas on the forked version of the Ethereum blockchain, that's fixed, but that's the manipulated version of the blockchain. And it's interesting to see today that the hard forked version of the Ethereum network is down 6%, and the Ethereum Classic chain is up 108%. Now, I say that take it with a pinch of salt, because the Ethereum Classic chain is only worth $185 million versus $1 billion for the hard forked Ethereum chain. But at this rate, it's going to catch up pretty damn quickly. Right, enough of Ethereum. Let's look at something else. What else we got? Steam down 12.5% today, and it's this is a bit of a fall from the highs where the Steam blockchain got up to about $350 million in market cap. And looking at the little graph that CoinMarketCap draws for us, there's been a steady decline in price. Let me just take a look at the details of this. So it's showing us, let's have a look at the last month. So there's a big spike up when it launched to around about, well, not when it launched, when there was the first payout. I think it was the 4th of July when they first paid out, and then everybody went ape because there's like, oh my God, there's actually a social network that pays you to use it. It's real. Let's get in there. So there were some peaks, $340 million, $404 million it got to. That was on the 20th of July. And then it peaked. Where did it last peak? On the 23rd of July. It's only 4 days ago. And it had a steady drop off since then. Very interesting. Anyway, a Steam token is still worth $2.67. And like they say in investing, the fundamentals of Steam are pretty strong. So I'm not too worried about that. I've got all of my Steam vested into Steam Power. So that's locked in for 2 years anyway. So I'm not too bothered what the price does because I'm using it for influence, which is the name of the game for me. Anyway, let's see what else we got. The rest of the top 10 is pretty boring. Let's see, in the top 20, anyone? Any offers? Emma Coin down 10%. Waves down 14%. All right, that's the end of it. That's the end of the top 20. Yeah, the Ethereum stuff is the real hot topic in the cryptosphere right now, so we'll stick with that. Just a quick look at the Bitcoin price chart on bitcoinwisdom.com. Bitcoin's behaving itself pretty well, just bobbling along nicely there. Quite happy with that. Now, there are 3 potential articles I could read to you today, and the first, they're all from CoinDesk, because bitcoin.com didn't have the latest on this. So this article reads, Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin addresses classic blockchain. And then the other one says, Coinbase says the longest chain is likely to decide Ethereum support. Because, funnily enough, Coinbase, having their exchange arm, which is the GDAX, they've recently, literally within the last few weeks, decided to support Ethereum. And Coinbase has largely been, it's entirely, since its launch, has been a Bitcoin wallet / exchange / a place to buy it and blah, blah. And now they've decided that Ethereum has proved itself to be here for the long term, and they decided to add it to their business. Right when this debacle with the split chain has come up, so they're like, my goodness, we just came to the party and now we've got all this politics going on. So we'll look into that one. And then the third article says, Genesis Trading sees interest in classic Ether market. I said classic because it was classic Ether, and I mixed the both words up. So Genesis Trading sees interest in classic Ether market. That's one of the tough things about reading the news live, is that I haven't pre-read these articles. And sometimes newsreaders do that. They kind of slip up on the words because they're reading the auto cue, and they're just literally reading it for the first time. So sometimes they get put a pronunciation wrong or whatever. That's the second random piece of trivia that I've shared with you today. Don't know what mood I'm in today, but maybe I need to. I've not touched my coffee yet, so maybe I should have some. Yes, I drink coffee. I may be a monk, but that doesn't mean a monk can't drink coffee. Anyway, let's look at this first article. So Ethereum Classic creator Vitalik Buterin addresses classic blockchain. Let's see what he's got to say for himself. Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin issued new statements today reiterating that the Ethereum Foundation, the non-profit organization founded to support development work on the Ethereum protocol, will support the version of Ethereum that includes a hard fork meant to enable investors to recover funds lost in the collapse of the DAO. Well, we know it's completely collapsed now because it's disappeared off CoinMarketCap. Maybe it'll be back tomorrow, or maybe it's just done for completely. Founded in June of 2014, the Swiss organization, formerly called Stiftung Ethereum, has been largely quiet over the last month as the community sought to move forward from the collapse of the DAO, which for a brief time was the platform's most prominent project, holding at one time $160 million in investor capital denominated in Ether, Ethereum's cryptocurrency. Most immediately, the statements quell uncertainty about whether the Ethereum Foundation would support both the primary Ethereum blockchain as well as the classic Ethereum, a version being maintained with the original transaction history. Overall, the organization has elected to stand by the informal community voting that led to the hard fork. Oh yes, so it was the voting was sort of informal. So it says overall, the organization has elected to stand by the informal community voting that led to the hard fork, executing roughly 1 week ago, while indicating it would not seek to hinder progress on any alternative Ethereum projects such as Ethereum Classic. And then Vitalik says, quote, "We recognize that the Ethereum code can be used to initiate other blockchains with the same consensus rules, including test nets, consortiums, and private chains, clones and spin-offs, and have never been opposed to such instantiations." Close quote. It says Buterin, which is Vitalik Buterin, used the remainder of the announcement to discuss how technical users could ensure clients were formatted for use with a desired version of the Ethereum blockchain. What's he on about? Technical users? Does he mean like people providing services, developers, and so forth? I assume. Yeah, because that's that. Imagine that. Imagine that if you're a techie and you're servicing clients who are uninformed, they don't want to know that the Ethereum network is split in two. Yeah, say if I'm a decentralized app developer and I have a client using it, well, the Ethereum split thing is my problem as the professional. The client doesn't want to know. They just want you to deliver on the promise, that you the contract that you signed to deliver this decentralized app. So unfortunately, it's falling on the heads of the techies. Anyway, so you'd have to pick one. You'd have to pick one of these. I keep calling it this. It's one of these supercomputers for rent. That's what I've dubbed Ethereum. It's the supercomputer that you can rent. Yeah, just like Amazon's cloud services, except it's decentralized. All right, moving on. What we got? Furthermore, Buterin encouraged the Ethereum Classic team to execute an additional hard fork. Sorry, it made me laugh. So Vitalik says he encourages the Ethereum Classic team to execute an additional hard fork that would guard its blockchain from replay attacks by moving Classic Ethers or currency units on the alternative blockchain to new accounts. At press time, reaction to the post was mixed, with users largely split over ideological lines that mirrored the larger debate across the ecosystem in recent days. For example, on Reddit, some praised the new clarity from the foundation. Others, by contrast, sought to reiterate support for Ethereum Classic as an implementation of the protocol that best represents the values of the Ethereum project as a whole. And that's the end of the article. Actually, I did read a bit of this article this morning when I first woke up, and there's a good comment here. There's quite a lot of good comments, to be honest, but which one was I wanted to share with you? The reason I laughed at the hard fork comment, let me just go back to it because this is hilarious. It says, the article, back to the third to last paragraph. Furthermore, Buterin encouraged the Ethereum Classic team to execute an additional hard fork. What do you mean an additional hard fork? The Ethereum Classic blockchain didn't fork. You know what I mean? To be an additional hard fork, there would have to have been a hard fork before that, right? The only chain that can execute an additional hard fork is the chain that executed a hard fork, which is Ethereum Core, the one that you support, Vitalik. Yes. So that's kind of funny. So what this guy doesn't get, obviously, and this is not me taking sides, this is purely me clarifying the logic or illogic of what he's saying. So he is encouraging the Ethereum Classic community, a community that is against hard forking, right, to do a hard fork. Did you get that? Did you get that? Right? Now, I'm not saying the Ethereum Classic community is against hard forking as a concept. Now, hard forking is just a technical adjustment, right? But it's the reason for the hard fork, right? And he's actually saying the Ethereum Classic team is encouraging the team, i.e. the developers, to initiate a hard fork. That's the same kind of decentralized, benevolent dictator / centralized decision-making stuff that has actually given birth to Ethereum Classic. The people that think, these decentralized systems should have a distributed or a decentralized decision-making process and not have influence from very prominent figures like Vitalik, the founder. That is Bitcoin's greatest asset. The creator has vanished. So you can't consult Satoshi and ask him or her or they, what did you mean by this? What was your intention in that? Because people are looking for leadership. people are crying out for leadership, right? The certainty is what people want, right? Tony Robbins is the first human need, the need for certainty. And that's what strong leaders give people. If they've got a direction, if a leader has a direction, they can gather massive support behind them because it plants a flag and offers people certainty. And that's why people go to work for strong leaders. Even very, very bright people go and work for strong leaders because the leader is offering them certainty of direction, certainty of mission, and certainty of purpose. Why am I telling you this? Well, because Vitalik is the founder, creator of Ethereum. So automatically people think that he knows best, right? Not true. Definitely not true. Just because someone comes up with the idea for something, like the light bulb, doesn't mean they are going to create the greatest light bulb. No, absolutely not. That's rubbish. That's absolute rubbish. So this bit freak in the comments says, does it even matter what Vitalik thinks? He has to come out with a statement, and that is what he has done. Going forward, you need an invisible Satoshi. Oh, there we go. This is what I read. And I've just got my previous comment from this. Going forward, you need an invisible Satoshi to lead the Ethereum project, which is what Classic has accomplished. I would not even be surprised if Satoshi had his hand in starting the Classic movement. Such a decentralized system with no one single point of failure, Vitalik, is what Ethereum needs, and Ethereum Classic fulfills that need. And then someone's replied to that comment saying, please, the vision is from the Ethereum Foundation, not some part-time copy-paste Bitcoin maximalist threatened by Ethereum. This is clearly a hot topic. And it is a business idea for you guys. If you want to make some money out of this, I'm not going to do this because I'm just giving you the idea. If you want to make some money out of this, go to a prediction market and create a prediction market to do with the Ethereum thingy. Basically, set up a market that allows people to bet on which chain will prevail, or it'd have to be a binary. So it has to be two outcomes, I guess. So yeah, which chain is going to prevail? The Ethereum Classic or Ethereum Core, and then let people bet on it. And you'd have to set a date, like, will Ethereum Classic still be in existence by the 31st of December 2016? Because that has a binary outcome, yes or no. And you have to have a binary outcome because you need to declare a winner one way or another. So by saying which chain will win, you can't do that, because what if they both continue beyond that? That's a third alternative that you can't bet on in a binary market. I'm not sure, is it Augur? Augur. Let me just search for Augur. I don't think this is launched yet. All these fantastic projects that we could use, they're not launched yet. Yeah, Augur.net. AUGUR.net. Decentralized prediction markets. Now, not the Ethereum network. I've said Ethereum that many times. The BitShares network has a prediction market component in it, but I don't think anyone's implemented it yet as a service. So Augur, the future of forecasting, blah, 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 blah. Now, I just don't think it's login, join Augur beta. Oh, there is a beta. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's in beta. So yeah, check out Augur.net and see if you can create yourself a prediction market to do with the Ethereum malarkey. Hey, someone may have already done it, for all I know. I might check this out later, see if someone has done it. And that would be interesting. So there we go. Let me, this is getting like a long episode. Let me just see what else we've got in the other articles. How long is this one? Oh, it's not very long. So this is the second article. Coinbase says the largest chain is likely to decide Ethereum support. Coinbase, one of the largest Ethereum exchanges by volume and the best capitalized business serving the ecosystem, is reporting it has no near-term plans to offer support for Ethereum Classic, the alternative version of the Ethereum blockchain that has been gaining market traction this week. Wow, that's interesting. So Bitcoin is siding with the Ethereum hard fork version. Representatives from the San Francisco-based company indicate that the decision extends to both its consumer wallet as well as GDAX, the digital asset exchange on which it is offering trading of both Bitcoin and Ether. The company said, quote, "In the near term, we're not planning to add support for Ethereum Classic," close quote. The startup, can you still consider Coinbase a startup? When is a startup no longer a startup? I don't really know. When it turns profitable, I do not know. I would like a definition of that, please, if anyone knows. You can comment on YouTube or on, what do you call it? What's the thing called? You can comment on, what's it called? Steam It. Yes, thank you. Please comment on Steam It. If you comment on Steam It, I'll upvote it and you'll earn a few cents from my voting power. Anyway, so it says the startup, which has raised upwards of $100 million in venture funding, however, said it is keeping an eye on developments as it relates to the competition between the two versions of the Ethereum blockchain, created over a disagreement on over how best to resolve the collapse of a high-profile project called the DAO. What's ironic is that Ethereum Classic is now, as a blockchain, it's now got a higher market cap than the DAO did. Let me verify that. Yes, the Ethereum Classic blockchain is $185 million of market cap. I think that's larger than the DAO ever got. So there we go. Don't quote me on that. That might not be true. The DAO maybe have got up to 200 and something million. But people seem to quote 160 million as the amount of money that the DAO raised. So that's what I'm going with. So Ethereum Classic has opted to continue maintaining a blockchain history containing transactions that were invalidated on the Ethereum blockchain, overseen by the majority of developers and voted for by community members. The statement follows actions taken by major exchanges, including market leaders Poloniex and Kraken, to support the alternative implementation and comes amid growing transaction volume for the digital asset. Over the last 24 hours, Classic Ether trading volumes have eclipsed volumes for Ether, the native asset on the blockchain network which Ethereum Classic is based, surpassing 93 million amid a 300% rise in value. As for now, it would be measuring the success of Ethereum Classic. Representative said, hang on a minute, I've read that wrong. As for now, it would be measuring the success of Ethereum Classic. Representative said the company would support the longest chain. Oh, this is Coinbase talking, of course. So they would support the longest chain or the version of the blockchain containing the most sealed transaction blocks. Right. Okay, so they're remaining impartial. They're just, again, like I said about Poloniex yesterday, they're a company providing a service. As long as there's demand for it, they'll provide the service. And Coinbase seem to be taking the simplifying things for themselves. They're like, look, we only want to support, it's the 80-20 rule, right? They only want to support the chain with the greatest what? The longest chain, I guess. Because the longest chain is the one that's more likely to survive long term. However, just because it's the longest chain doesn't automatically mean that the shorter chain will collapse. It could just carry on as a different coin. You know, there's lots of forks of Bitcoin. I think Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin from way back. And all they did, I think it's identical, except for the block times. That was pretty much it. Bitcoin was forked, and you could call that two versions of Bitcoin, but they renamed it, changed the block times, and then that's been developing on its own ever since. So there's a quote here. It says, "Our guiding light here is that we follow the longest chain, the most popular chain, and that's what we're continuing to support." How do you know what's the most popular chain? Most popular by market cap? Most popular by trading volume? I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. The company noted it is likely to continue to monitor the situation. I don't think it's likely. I think they are definitely going to be monitoring the situation until it comes to a conclusion. So the company noted it is likely to continue to monitor the situation and it will continue to watch how developments unfold in the coming weeks. The comments are notable as Coinbase has been one of the most vocal supporters of the Ethereum platform, adding Ether buying and selling to its consumer wallets last week. And that's the end of the article. Whoa, CoinDesk seems to get a lot more comments than Bitcoin.com. That's probably not a surprise. They've probably got way more traffic, to be honest. And they tend to break stories a lot more readily on CoinDesk. Yes, so far we've had a look at Vitalik harping on about his stance on the whole thing. That was as of yesterday. The Coinbase article was published today at 2 o'clock 1:30 in the morning, British time. And let's go for a super long extended episode of the Cryptoverse today, because this is intense stuff and we want to get as much information as possible. So final article, let me get rid of Augur because I've still got that open. Right, so the third article from CoinDesk says, this was also published yesterday, Genesis Trading sees interest in classic Ether market. So it sees the interest. A prominent digital currency trading service reports that investors are expressing an interest in buying into the version of Ethereum that rejected last week's hard fork. Over-the-counter digital trading service Genesis Global Trading is now trading classic Ethers, ETC, but reports its volume at less than $100,000 in purchases thus far. Serving institutions and individuals, Genesis sells blocks of the digital currency, as well as alternatives such as Bitcoin with a minimum order size of $25,000. Wow. Hang on a minute. If the minimum order size is $25,000 and they've so far had volume of less than 100 grand, well, they can't have had more than 4 transactions, that maximum. Because the minimum order is $25,000. I mean, if I'm reading that right. Despite a small number of initial buyers, CEO Michael Morrow, that sounds like tomorrow. See, trivia number 3, completely trivial. Despite a small number of initial buyers, CEO Michael Morrow said he is confident that demand could begin to rise for the nascent digital currency, which has been winning over users as a protest tool and in recent days building a budding market. Morrow told CoinDesk, quote, "We started to explore Ethereum Classic over the weekend, based on some inquiries received. People were looking for a place to buy and sell Ethereum Classic, and Genesis was happy to provide a market." Close quote. Morrow went on to characterize institutional interest in Ether as minimal, while cautioning that it's too early to draw comparisons between the two digital currencies at this stage. Of course you can draw a comparison. On a philosophical level you can. One chain believes in manipulation and one doesn't. Maybe that's my bias, but that's the way I see it. There's one that believes in code is law and one that doesn't. That's kind of the fundamental comparison you can make. I mean, that's the founding principle of Ethereum Classic, as far as I understand it. The news comes amid an increase in the price of classic Ethers, which has risen more than 250% in the last 24 hours. The price of Ether, by comparison, has fallen roughly 5% in that same time. At press time, the price of one Ethereum Classic was trading for 0.0028 Bitcoin, or roughly $1.80, up from 50 cents yesterday. That's the end of the article, but we also know that as of right now, an Ethereum Classic token, let me just refresh the page because this isn't dynamic, this page. It's slowed down a bit. An Ethereum Classic token is now worth $2.12. Jolly good. So, lots of information there to mull over. I'm actually going to have to process all this because it's a lot of information happening in a very short space of time. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Cryptoverse with me, Chris Coney. I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please go to cryptoversity.com/podcast and click on the Steemit logo if you'd like to support the Cryptoverse. If you click on Steemit, you can upvote this post. You can also follow me on Steemit. You can also contribute to the Cryptoverse with Bitcoin with the address on that page. And also subscribe on YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, or iTunes so that you can follow me each day as I come to you with a new episode of the Cryptoverse with my own personal insights, opinions, comments, and so forth. If you'd like to actually take some formal courses on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains and set your own price, then remember to visit the main site, cryptoversity.com, which is the online school where you set the price to learn about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. That's all for today, guys. So it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.